can't just take a model and try to push it onto any country. Every country will have its own particular circumstances, its own unique features, its own challenges, its own capacity. So if there are some common themes, we do want to be making sure that countries are improving governing capacity and there's greater transparency, greater accountability of government officials, because that's been a real problem in many, many countries. Another theme came up today. We need greater transparency in the extractive sector, absolutely. We also need countries to have pretty stable macro environments. They need to make sure that they have a financial environment where businesses want to come invest, because their internal resources are very rarely going to be enough to meet the goods and services needs of their population. They need to get businesses prepared to come in there who can actually succeed, have good laws around protection of their property, have good court systems where they can, where they can get their judicial issues resolved efficiently and effectively. And I think the more we can see improvements in this, and we have seen tremendous improvements in this in all sorts of countries. So some countries, once they get their political stability in order, and then you see them also get their business environment improved, and then you see growth in the private sector, they focus on their education systems, they invest in agriculture. There is no silver bullet to economic growth. It's trying to get a lot of little things right, but a lot of things can, conflict is a real detractor from growth. So countries struggling from conflict are not achieving these gains. There's not a single fragile state that's on track to meet the Millennium Development Goals. That's a real tragedy. So I think I was at a conference the past few days, a private equity conference, talking to a lot of really, really well-trained, well-organized business people seeking good business opportunities in Africa. And one of the things they want to see is they want to know when they make an investment that there's a legal system they can count on. They want to know that when the government's not going to be taking arbitrary actions that's going to deprive them of their rights under law. And they're really, really optimistic on the continent. They see extraordinary investment returns. They see a place with very high unmet, growing middle-class demand. So I think we're seeing a real turn towards Africa. And as other parts of the world continue to show volatility and continue to show sluggish returns, people are seeing, wow, Africa is an extraordinary place to invest, a place where investors can make money, and at the same time, people can get better goods and services to meet their needs on the ground. So two things I'll say. The first is that this is the first ever truly competitive merit-based process the World Bank has seen. And we had 3 extraordinary candidates, and we had a very contested process. And Dr. Jim Young Kim was selected by the board, and the board's very happy to have him. He's going to be an extraordinary president. The other candidates were also excellent. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is a wonderful person I know her quite well. She's an extraordinary finance minister and coordinating minister for the economy in Nigeria. And I expect she will work very, very closely with Jim Kim to help Nigeria achieve its extraordinary potential and its leadership potential for the continent. And I think that the bank's investment and involvement in Africa is going to deepen and improve. So I'm really looking forward to kind of a strong partnership between Dr. Kim and Dr. Iweala, and frankly, a number of really, really impressive talents and a greater cadre of finance ministers and leaders across the African continent. I think the bank needs to continue to evolve to meet the needs of its membership. There is still an extraordinary need to help the poorest countries grow into become middle-income countries, and a need to help middle-income countries overcome some of their challenges and get their poor also. Because as we've talked about inequality, the most number of poor are actually in some of the middle-income countries. So it's not a question of stopping this and doing that. How do we actually make sure we're really being effective at improving the lives of the poorest people on this earth, giving them economic opportunities so they can, because the world needs their productivity to grow, and we want to support them in their futures. So I think as the bank's role will continue to evolve, and the bank needs to be relevant to all of its members.